So the games themselves are obviously the most important part of the equation when it comes to these consoles, and Microsoft has done a good job getting the consoles out, maybe not the best job of getting the games out, and I think that's where this comes into play. It looks like there is a new leak about the Xbox and Bethesda showcase. Yes, there is no more E3, unfortunately, but at the very least we do see some, events that are very similar to E3, and I think that's going to be very cool for a lot of people to see. Now, the interesting thing about these things are, and I'm going to be as honest as I possibly can right now, well, a lot of times when it comes to these things, quite frankly, they're just common sense. People don't really have an inside track for the most part. Yeah, you might hear one thing or the other, but a lot of this has to do with common sense, and so that's where these type of things come from. Now, obviously, to be 100% honest with you, I'm looking at this list, and the list is okay. I mean, it's impressive enough, but I don't think that if this were indeed a list of true leaks, we would see project names instead of actual names for the games, and I think that probably is the biggest thing. The other thing that tells me that this is mostly false is quite obvious, and I'll get into that in a second. But I do want to get into this because I thought it was an interesting thing. So, Xbox and Bethesda showcase leak rumor. Now, according to this, GoldenEye is going to be on there, and that's possible. GoldenEye has been rated. We know that that's something that could release. Do I look at that as a big deal? No, GoldenEye was a big deal, 20 some years ago. I don't think that, unless it was a full-on remake, is worth its weight in anything, to be quite honest with you. But that's plausible. Starfield gameplay, again, this is using common sense. Of course we're going to see Starfield gameplay, even though the game got delayed till early next year. Clearly they're going to spend a lot of time talking about this and showing off the game and letting everybody know what it's about, because even to this day we don't have really much of an idea about what's going on. And again, these are interesting type of subjects that we see. The next one is Project Belfry, which is supposedly, I think, a 2D in the vein of Castle Crashers type game. But why wouldn't they just have the name there, right? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The next thing is Halo Infinite multiplayer update. I mean, they've already kind of laid down the update, unless they're going to announce the situation where they have the BR mode. I'm not sure much more what they could do here, and I think a lot of people are more interested in, release dates for the co-op, Forge. Is there going to be single-player DLC? Like, what can we expect there? So again, we might see something like that, but that's kind of usually common sense. Redfall gameplay, this is again something that is very much common sense oriented. Reason being is that, us as gamers are kind of in this weird position where we want to see these games, and even though this one was delayed, I think that it still is something that we will see gameplay for, because again, it's going to come out early next year. The next game is Contraband, which says it's going to be CGI. Again, I happen to be more interested in this game than the average person, so you look into some of the things around this game, and Contraband is a game that is originally was going to come out at the end of this year, and it got pushed back to next year. I think we might actually see some gameplay from this. Then it says Gotham Knights, third-party game, obviously, that we'll see some gameplay. While this is possible, to me, WB has almost always had some sort of deal with Sony, so we'll have to see if that's actually legit. But if it is true that Gotham Knights is going to be showcased on the Xbox side of things, might we get a situation where, we see that drop day and date into Game Pass? I think that's what a lot of people are kind of hoping for, myself included. Now, is that going to happen? Listen, I don't know, but if it is going to be marketed by Microsoft, they might have to pony up the cash for that. Next up, Cuphead DLC launch trailer. Next up, Replaced, which is a game that just got delayed today, by the way, into next year. So, we'll see what happens with that. It's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. Now, listen, I'm not trying to poo-poo everything that's being written on this list or whatever. I'm just trying to be as honest as I possibly can. Next up, it talks about the Family Game Pass plan, which is something that has been leaked and talked about. Would that be something that they covered at this type of event? I don't know. It seems like that's something that Xbox Wire could cover, honestly. Next up, it talks about Ubisoft Plus on Game Pass, which again, that already came out in just a random thing for PlayStation, so I don't know why they would really talk about that much unless it was just a quick blurb. ID at Xbox games, this kind of happens every single time, and I think that it makes a lot of sense for them to actually go out there and kind of have the idea of Xbox games, because that's where a lot of the hype and stuff comes from. Next up, this is another one that's sort of, I'm like, I'm questioning it. Sea of Thieves update, I guess they could do that. Then it would be the Fallout 76 update, which again, since it's the Bethesda showcase, they're going to have to show something. Compulsion Games, their third-person action shooter, or adventure, is supposedly a CGI trailer. Grounded update, Everwild, which again, I really doubt Everwild is in any state to show. It doesn't even say if it's CG or whatever. Gears of War Marcus Phoenix Collection, again, they probably wouldn't even call it that to begin with, so I'm kind of doubting that. Indiana Jones CGI, Perfect Dark CGI, I mean, that's possible. Project Tatanka, again, why would they have a project name instead of something else? Forza Horizon 5 DLC, third games on Xbox Game Pass, sequel to Jedi Fallen Order, Avowed gameplay, Hellblade 2 gameplay, sequel to Doom, Forza Motorsport gameplay, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 gameplay, Day 1 Game Pass. Now, the reason why I super doubt it, Microsoft hasn't ever done a Forza Horizon and Forza Motorsport at the same event. That's not the only thing that I would doubt here. Also, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, that is being marketed with Sony. Like, Sony has marketing to that. Not only does Sony have marketing to that, but they also, have a situation where they would probably in their heading or something where it wouldn't be allowed to even be in Game Pass for a certain amount of time. We've seen some instances like that before, so we'll see what happens with that. But again, I just sort of doubt it. Some of this stuff is a given. Hellblade 2, Avowed, Contraband, Starfield, yeah, these are games that we will definitely see, but at the same time, is this going to be stuff that, some of the stuff in there, I guess, is them, whoever wrote this is trying to take kind of a shot in the dark or whatever, and I just don't think that it's going to be the way that they think it's going to be. Not that there weren't some very good guesses and things like that in there, but it's kind of easy to say, hey, they're not going to kind of talk about one Forza, in my opinion, and then the other, the way that this has kind of come about. So in my opinion anyway, so anything could happen. That's the thing about video games, right? When we look at these video games and we see any of these types of leaks, a lot of the time it's just somebody's like wish list or whatever. So is that going to be something that we see? Hell, I don't know, but it does sound pretty good, and I would love to see a lot of the stuff that's listed here. We'll just have to wait and see what's going to happen. Again, I would love to see what you guys think about this, though. Let me know what you think down below. Rack them up, back them up, crap gamer them up. If you do enjoy my content, please leave a like on the video. It helps the video to be seen and the channel to grow. You are all amazing. Thank you so much for watching. Crap gamer out.